And we got to experience the kind of the stages of grief for everyone.
Welcome to 10-Minute Travels. With me, as always, is Phil Freeman.
And with me, as always, is Shane Patrick. We're going to talk about motorcycle riding in India with Robert Morgan. And if you want to learn about anything else that 10-Minute Travels talks about, check us out at 10minutetravels.com.
Let's get right to it, shall we? Well, and that's a thing that I'm curious how it was with the group, because like Robert, you were saying you didn't know everybody yet, you're just kind of figuring it out, and it sort of sucked right away being trapped together, and I'm curious how that was as a get to know each other sort of space.
I think bringing a group, we had software engineers, we had doctors with us, we had retired product specialists. So it was a smorgasbord of people. I think some of the guys, maybe half the crew, had familiarity with at least another person on the trip. My father and brother and I being the exception there, but then again, we knew each other, obviously. Um, we we to to say it was a uh, a bonding experience. Certainly, it certainly brought us together. We got to know each other more than we probably would have otherwise. We had, I would say, what was that, Phil? Five surprising days spent, maybe four additional nights in Manali that we weren't expecting. Um, I think at least two of those days we got out and rode, and we got to experience the kind of the stages of grief for everyone. some some of the guys were like, "Oh, I'm going home." Some of the guys were, some of the guys were, what's the next opportunity? Some of the guys were, well, I'm just going to take this opportunity to go and take pictures of the locals. Some of us got some work done. Some of us read far further in our book than we expected to get. But overall, everybody continued on trip. Everybody, by the time we were ready to go, attitudes were lifted again, and really, it was uh, uh, getting to know each other on a more intimate basis that really changed the dynamic of the trip. We really, whereas we normally would have been just chasing each other on motorcycles, we had an opportunity to meet and communicate, and in the end of it, I it sucked at the time. Looking back, it sure was again, an adventure. We watched houses fall into the river together. We watched trees get torn down together. We really experienced watching uh, quite a spectacular moment of what do you want to call it, the earth, really, the monsoons really taking out an area of you know an important area of India. It was pretty spectacular and concerning and amazing to watch all at the same time.
Yeah, we definitely watched people's lives get changed in those days, and we had it pretty easy. We were in a hotel; it's comfortable, but I mean, to start it on the front end of a trip, you have a lot of people that are used to controlling a lot of things, and they're hard chargers, and then all of a sudden they're made to stay in the same hotel day in and day out, and with unknowns. And we checked out of that hotel, what, at least twice, and just came back. And spent another night in our same rooms. And we got to know the menu at the hotel really well and the whole staff. And we kind of became part of them in a way. But man, there was a lot of tension. You could feel it. The people wanted to go. We'd come here to ride and we just couldn't. So by day four, and then one day would be really nice, but then the roads were washed out, so you couldn't go anywhere. So
Or
then
government had stuff closed
the
down that
government wouldn't.
yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't go over Rotang Pass, not legally, and the road's there, but it's been rained on, so it's got to get assessed. So we had to wait another day, and that was building and building. We got to a point where I said, "Okay, guys, here's the deal. If we're not going anywhere tomorrow, we're just going to need to have a real serious talk about what we're doing." Because the only way to get to an airport from there would have been to get a helicopter or hike with your luggage around to each washed out place all the way down valley. It would have been a huge endeavor. That's just understated. So we were kind of stuck, and you could feel it. So when we finally started going, knew our man on the ground, who's the man about town and knows everybody, he got permission through a government source that we could be the only group of motorcyclists to get out of town on the day we did. And it would be up and over Rotang Pass, which used to be the main way, but they built a tunnel. Oh, you couldn't use the tunnel because it washed out. The road to it washed out. So we were literally the only traffic on Rotang Pass. They didn't want us to get the social media out because they don't want all the local riders knowing that there were motorcycles up there. And it didn't make sense why they didn't allow them up there. They said it was a pollution problem with glaciers receding or whatever they used as an excuse. But that didn't stop us. We had a full day of riding up and over a beautiful pass, and it was all to ourselves. And so we, in a way, after suffering what 4 days of going nowhere, we actually got more freedom than anybody had ever had for, I don't know, the foreseeable past. We had the road to ourselves, which is something in India that never happens. And
Yeah, I think Rotang Pass on our first trip there, that's where Mariska's clutch burned up, right? And all those kids were trying to sell us hash, and we needed a truck to throw the bike into. We didn't need hash, but one of our friends said, I'll tell you what, kids, I'll buy all your hash if you find me a truck. And we had 3 trucks instantly.
yeah, they don't even let people up Rotang anymore. And we finally got going. And what was it like to start climbing up Rotang and seeing the waterfalls in the mountains, huh?
So we had what we thought was a taste of climbing. For in the days prior to, we went up to the checkpoint for Rotang Pass and could see the road, but were blocked by it. So we finally got to do we finally got the opportunity to pass the checkpoint, and know the I mean, first of all, just the energy that had built up over that period of time that we were ready to go. Um, it was released by all of us. It was ecstatic feeling. Then we're climbing up and over a road. It's a beautiful day. We've got switchbacks like I've never experienced before in my life. Just consistent climbing. What we're probably traveling at 20 kilometers an hour max, then downshifting to and breaking down into first gear to get up and around the steep, and it was just extraordinary climbing over and over. The highest pass I've ever been on. What is Rotang at that?
It's like 13 and change.
Yeah, so I mean, anything in the States, you're not getting motorcycles up that high, right? So we got that opportunity. We're coming up and through some fog opening up, and it's just you've got sunlight like purposefully shining on these waterfalls and these and these this beauty that really starts to become second nature to us throughout the trip. It's an extraordinary climb, and extraordinary views, but certainly an opportunity like nothing else I'd experienced before.
And like any other day, there was some unknowns. We didn't know exactly where we were going to go that night. We were going to try to get back to our original itinerary, which would have been a right-hand turn after Rotang. Although everything was fine until we learned that the road had another landslide, so we couldn't go that way. So we had to continue on to Keelong, which would be a northern trajectory. And that had some unknowns too. And one of our riders put a screenshot on the WhatsApp group, and Google said the road was closed 7 different places where we were supposed to go.
That's
And
it?
And no one really knew how it looked, from Google's perspective. But if you'd have told everybody, there would have been some real sad faces, being that we finally got to ride, and then we had what we would sleep out somewhere. I mean, even Anu was asking about sleeping bags from his crew and stuff, and there were some unknowns. But just like anything in India, the plan B is usually the plan A, and there's a side road, and you don't really have long days per se in distance like kilometers. But I like to I like to, the the amount of length is in lifetimes, and
Yeah.
and so if you take a little side road and you go up and over, and it's only about, I don't know, 7 kilometers, but considering the switchbacks and the honking and the other trucks and no guardrails, that's like a lifetime.
Oh, sure.
And we had a dose of that. And we took this side road to get up over this stuff. And this doesn't even mention, the thousands of rocks that were scattered on the road, and the broken vehicles from rocks that have been coming down landslides, and then actively working bucket loaders while you're trying to do a water crossing and a steep hill climb to get through it. I mean, all this is going on and on and on. We're probably averaging 15 miles an hour. And then to go onto a side road, we get to the side road, and we get to an overlook. We look at each other and we thought, well, I guess that's the last time we see our luggage, because it's in the truck behind us. How the hell is it going to make it where we just made it?
Well, yeah, so we weren't prepared for the amount of washout that we were going to experience. We thought once we got on the other side of the pass that was desert, less rain, all the water drains the other way, right? So we come up, I think, on that first day, and within the first 20 kilometers of after so we went over Rotang Pass, had lunch, and continued on our way. And within the first 20 kilometers, we've got an excavator in the road, digging out rocks and everything. And we're not confident. I'm not confident with the ability of all the riders. I go through it relatively quick, which I'm comfortable in the off road. And I turn around, I'm like, oh man, I sure hope we don't have trouble. And thankfully everybody made it through. But I mean, it was a stomach clenching experience just within the first 20 kilometers. We continue on and have and in areas that you would never think you would see rock slides. You've got rocks just piled up meters deep on the road. Pretty unbelievable to even fathom that that's an experience that they deal with consistently.
Now, we've been running trips there for 15 years, and we've never had such a monsoon affected trip. This is not in the ordinary, but what we did was we got the extraordinary. And what happens, just like many mountain ranges, is everything's verdant and green on the Manali side, but then it turns into desert scape and less precipitation on the other side. That was not such the case. And then we started just getting used to seeing roads with, I don't know, thousands of rocks scattered across them. After a while, it's funny how a person becomes really used to something. But after day 3, you go around a boulder and then pick your way through some debris on the road, and you don't even think twice about it. And that was our first real good dose of that. That was Robert Morgan talking about riding motorcycles in India. And if you want to learn anything else about 10-minute travels, check out 10minutetravels.com.
And we want to remind you to make sure that your sense of humor matches your sense of adventure.
And please like, subscribe, and share this podcast on all the platforms.